sorry, forgot the microphone, didn't I? So I'll start again. We've been talking about life, death and life, the life, death and life of Jesus coming out of Easter. And today I want to talk a little bit about death. And we often have death in different ways in our life, small deaths, some tragedies, some moments in our lives. I want to share a little story from my time in Papua New Guinea, in a place called Rego, where I was parish priest of a bush parish. I went off one day to patrol out to a fairly remote outstation, and I'd driven an hour up the road on a fairly bad road and left the truck in the village, and then I walked down to the river, and I was feeling sick all the way down, and I got to the bottom and vomited. Got to the village, decided to stay there the night, and asked the people first for water. I had medicine with me, what's become famous now, chloroquine. We don't use the long name, we just used chloroquine, and I used to take that once a week. But I knew that if I took the chloroquine straight away, I would vomit again. So I asked the people for water, and I just sipped water for a good hour until I was rehydrated, and then I took the chloroquine. And by morning, I was okay, and walked on to the station and continued to patrol. In that moment when I was sick, and I got into the village and was feeling very sick, that was sort of, in a sense, a moment of death. It was not really living fully. It was pretty bad. And we can all have moments like that when we get sick, when somebody dies, when some tragedy comes along, even at the moment, the great tragedy of not being able to go to the football or go to the pub. These things are, in a sense, little deaths, and we have to live through them. And that's part of life. That death is part of life. I had a phone call last night from a friend of mine. It was his birthday. He rang me. I'd forgotten his birthday, so I rang him back. And we talked a lot. His wife died a few years ago, and they were very, very close, very deeply in love with each other. And he really suffered badly. And he said to me last night, because our anniversary was not long ago, he said, "Don't ever tell anybody that it finishes," meaning the grief and the pain, the loss. He said, "It doesn't finish. Don't tell anybody it finishes. You'll get over it." In a sense, you get over it. And he's fully alive. He's a very enjoyable person, and you know, we had some good times together. But that deep pain and hurt and grief is still with him. That death is still with him, even though he lives and lives well. So death is part of life. So this morning, I'd like to say, accept that. Accept that it's been part of life. We suffer. Things are difficult. We grieve. And to accept it, to take it on, and in a sense to enter into it as part of living. And that entering into it is healing. It is a part of life, and in a sense it is a gift of life. And finally, on that little trip, I had medicine with me, because that's our habit. I carry that medicine with me. Other people in those villages don't have the medicine. If they were as sick as I was, they might have to walk 3, 4, 5 hours or a day to get to a clinic where there might be medicine or there might not be medicine. And that's very hard for them, and that's part of the death that they have to live. So in our mission alive today, in any moments that we feel those moments of death, we enter into it and live it. We live the death. I'll be back with more Mission Alive news another time. Thank you.